go first on the trailer, or
Yes, sir.
all right. Uh, all right. So on the Aquaman trailer, I watched it probably about 5 or 6 times, and the 5 or 6 times that I watched it, I kind of joked to myself, and it was just jokes. I was like, okay, so we're about to get a water Thor, in the sense of the kingdom and things like that, which is fine because Aquaman's story was already like that. That's not something they just came out of nowhere with. They've always been about Atlantis and
It's funny
everything
because
like.
people are comparing it to Black Panther, but I'm like, I mean, I'm sorry, but some of these storylines are just the same.
Yeah, it's there.
Like, it
There's
just is. Like, nobody's copying anybody. It's just there's no other way you can tell the story.
there's only, like, I think I forgot there was a director who write movies and plays. They said there's probably only 6 different stories that you can tell in a movie, period. And then the only difference is how the characters are portrayed in those storylines. But most of them are going to be the same. Someone's trying to be something that they're not yet, and at some point they're going to eventually be that way. Someone's already there, and they got to come down and be humbled. But I'm not going to go too far into that. But this trailer, I thought the trailer was actually pretty good. I'm excited for it. It was good to see Black Manta in there. Um, just the lightheartedness as far as the comedy and everything that goes into it. And I feel like this is that movie that we didn't have yet, like that I guess mythological, for lack of a better term, type of Lord of the Rings type film that we haven't had. I know Aquaman isn't like Lord of the Rings, but if you talk about like that type of lore, like something like that, we haven't had one of those type of movies in a while. Like a big blockbuster mythic type movie. And when I watched this trailer, I feel like that this is going to cover that. Obviously, we both got a lot of faith in James Wan. We know he's going to do a good job with this movie. The trailer didn't show me anything different, but one thing I will say is that I'm really interested to see, outside of the story that we already know, what are some intricacies they're going to do in the movie that's going to make it different from any other movie as far as superheroes go in general. Because I know the concept itself is already, I'm excited about it. I know the concept itself is already different, and them redoing Aquaman in a way that makes him 10 times cooler than him wearing tight clothes and blonde hair. I think they're gonna do really good with this, and man, I'm just excited. I don't know what else I can really say
Yeah.
about it.
Well, basically, James Wan. I watched the Aquaman panel, and James Wan flat out and came out and said, "What makes this movie different is this is a movie with a superhero character, but it's not a superhero movie. It's fantasy sci-fi.
Hmm.
It's fantasy science fiction movie."
Yep.
And that is perfect. That is perfect for Aquaman. And for the most part, everybody's loved the trailer 100% for the most part. But I've seen certain comments. People that like the trailer is like, oh, it's good, but CGI, this and that. Okay, guys,
It's early.
you go make a movie about a character and his world is completely underwater.
Mm-hmm.
You go build your own underwater set, right? And you go make actors breathe underwater for an entire film.
And don't get crushed by the water pressure.
That is like the CGI complaints of the film is the most absurd complaints I've ever heard in my life.
It is.
This movie, anything underwater has to be heavy CGI.
Yep.
It has to be. That's the only way you're telling this story. When Marvel comes out with a Namor movie, guys, it's going to be heavily CGI. And I guarantee you're going to see people, oh, I love this movie. It looks so awesome. The underwater work looks so great. But it's going to look exactly like Aquaman. You know why? Because the underwater work has to be CGI, guys. It just has to be. And in that trailer, that's some of the best CGI work I've ever seen. I'm sorry, but come on. Like, the fact that James Wan has them talking underwater and not making it look absurd with water bubbles flying everywhere and everything like that. You can still tell they're underwater while Jason Momoa was talking. You can see his hair flapping like it's underwater, like hair would if it's underwater. You can see him while he's trying to stand still in one spot. He's not standing still because he's underwater. He's floating around, but he's still talking underwater.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody that doesn't find that amazing, I think you really need to reevaluate things.
You know, it's funny though.
Because if you compare it to Justice League, everybody was so pissed when Mera and Aquaman were talking and they did the air bubble thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was pissed that they did that. Why did you do the air bubble thing? It looks so whack. It did this and that. So James Wan said before the trailer even came out, you ain't gotta worry about it. Ain't no air bubbles in my movie. So I don't understand. And by the way, Black Manta looks fucking awesome.
Amazing.
That character could easily go the other way. Could easily look corny as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Not look right.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, it's true to the Black Manta look in the comics. That's number one.
Absolutely.
And number two, he looks awesome.
You know what? With the whole CGI thing, and I don't mean to cut that off because we'll get right back to the Black Manta thing. If you guys don't know, if you guys haven't listened to previous episodes, I'm obviously a Marvel head, but I can be objective and see when people are just hating on things because it's DC. And complaining about the CGI at this point is really stupid because the first Black Panther trailer, the CGI in there was pretty bad. Nobody said nothing about it. Nobody. It was really bad. Especially the part when he jumped on the car and backflipped. It none of that looked real at all. You can tell it was missing textures. Some shadows were gone. But you guys got to understand, they still got time to release the movie.
No negative comment. You didn't hear no negative comment, bro.
No negative comment. But you guys got to understand, they still have time to release the movie. So if they see anything in there that looks weird, they can still touch it up. They got time. So,
and that was the trailer that they showed for the world. But I watched Collider after and online. They said that they showed footage. It was like a second trailer that they showed after that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It was footage. They said that footage was 100 times better than the trailer that they showed that we all saw.
Okay, so there's no more hate.
You gotta understand something. The movie's not done yet.
Exactly.
That CGI that you saw, it's going to get touched up.
Exactly.
It's going to get fixed, and everything will get put into context. Everybody, I understand, like, okay, there's some trailers that I don't like, but I do understand in the back of my mind, I'm watching a trailer of a film that's out of context. The trailer, everything is out of context in the trailer. Mm-hmm. Nothing is in context until you go see the movie. So you have to understand, we're watching clips. We're not watching a whole scene. So everything will come together when we go to the film. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. We all know. We've seen amazing trailers to shit movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, just personally judging after the trailer, that Aquaman trailer was awesome. I love that trailer. I watched that trailer. You watched it 5 or 6 times. I've seen it 20 times.
Yeah, I loved it.
I love the trailer. The trailer was awesome. And to me, shout out to Walter Hamada, the new guy in control of DC, of the DC universe, DC Go. By the way, enough of the DCEU now, guys. It's the world of DC now. That's what it's called now. That's what I've been hearing the past couple of days. That's what they're calling it now.
It sounds better.
World of DC, which to me
sounds better.
It's so smart, and this is why it's smart. Unlike the Marvel universe in the comics, mm-hmm. DC has leaned heavily more into the multiverse and Elseworlds type stories. So by calling it the world of DC now,
mm-hmm.
you can tell stories that have nothing to do with the DC universe.
Exactly.
That has nothing to do with the connection of the DC universe. Aquaman obviously is connected to the DC universe. Shazam, honestly, by the trailer we're going to talk about it, is connected. Wonder Woman's connected. We're going to get a Superman movie coming out soon, hopefully, and a Flash movie that's going to be connected. But that Joker movie that's coming out by Joaquin Phoenix is not connected at all. That is most likely going to be a one-off Elseworld story. And that is how DC will separate themselves from Marvel. MCU, they have the MCU, and they have a connected universe that's connected with everything through line. But the way DC has to separate itself is not by making everything darker. Because I say this all the time, and people don't understand this. The Marvel universe and the DC universe is flipped on their head, people.
Mm-hmm.
And understand this. The Marvel universe is the more darker universe in the comics. And anybody that knows DC Comics and Marvel Comics knows this. People can argue this with me all they want. But the DC universe in the comics is brighter. It's more hopeful. And I wrote this to someone, one of the YouTubers that had a problem with the Shazam trailer or whatever. I thought about that, and I wrote this to him, and I was like, I commented on one of his YouTube reactions or whatever. I told him, like, yo, DC and Marvel flipped everything on everybody's head. Because what the Shazam trailer, what the Aquaman trailer shows me now, is that DC is not worried about copying Marvel anymore. DC is finally going to make movies about the DC characters and not trying to make everybody darker like Batman, because that's not how it works. That's not how the characters are in the comics. Batman is the dark character. Superman's not. Wonder Woman's not. The Flash isn't. Mm-hmm. Aquaman isn't. They're just not. That's not how they are in the comics. These characters are more lighthearted. They're more hopeful. They're to put it frank and to put it very blunt. The character, what you see in the MCU is what DC is in the comics, and that's just period. I'm sorry, that's just how I got. That's the only way I can actually put it for people to actually understand. That's how it is. The MCU that you're seeing in the movies is how it is in the comics in DC. The DC, the Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad that you saw in the theaters, Batman and his characters are the only ones that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Superman isn't like that. Wonder Woman isn't like that. What you saw in the Wonder Woman movie, that's Wonder Woman.
You know,
the lustness of them scare her, the beauty of them. That's how it is in the comic books. The Aquaman that you saw in the trailer, now, Jason Momoa's depiction of Aquaman obviously isn't like Aquaman in the comics, because if they did make Aquaman that's in the comics in the movie, people would make fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Aquaman is the butt of everyone's jokes. So they have to change the actual personality of the character, but not his story or his backstory or anything like that. They just have to change the actual character to make people not make him the butt of everybody's jokes, and they have to change his look.
Yeah, that look could be weird.
Although, in that footage that they showed that I heard, he did don he was wearing, and at the end of the trailer that they showed, he was wearing the actual classic Aquaman orange and green outfit, which on Jason Momoa was going to look hard as shit. So basically, yeah, people that, all these negative things about Aquaman trailer, it was a really good trailer. I enjoyed the trailer. And I'm more hopeful now. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Batman versus Superman, people. Sorry, but I did. I like Justice League. Yeah, I'm a diehard DC fan, but I like Justice League. Although, I will tell you, there was a boatload of problems with that movie. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, I am not an idiot. There's a lot of problems with that movie. But for me, what I enjoyed about the movie is just seeing the Justice League on screen, just to see those characters interact with each other. That made the movie worth it for me. I will defend to the ends of the earth Man of Steel. That is a fantastic film. It is a wonderful film. It, to me, is the best Superman film that I've ever seen in my life. And it's the greatest take of Superman. I was thinking about this earlier. So many people have problems with that movie over certain things. And I'm like, okay, this is what annoys me about the fandom sometimes. People applaud the MCU for how real the MCU is, how real they portray their characters, and how real life certain things seem to be, even though it's still fantasy, because certain things that they do cannot be real. But they like to commend the MCU for that. So Zack Snyder basically showed you if Superman was in real life. That's what he basically showed you. That's what Man of Steel was. He basically showed you if there was a man or an alien or whatever that had the powers of Superman that really existed in our world, what would happen if he fought another man that was just like that? At the end of the first Avengers, I didn't see anyone have a fucking problem with the majority of the city of New York getting trashed by the T'Chari and the Avengers. But a shitload of people had a problem with Metropolis, a fictional city, a city that's not real, by the way, getting absolutely destroyed from the fight with Superman and God. But that was real. That's what would happen in real life if those two titans would clash. By the way, a guy that just became Superman for a day, by the way, that wasn't Superman for very long, so he didn't really know how to fight, that's number one. He doesn't really know how to fully control his powers, that's number two. But anyway, I'm going on like this crazy tangent, but back to the Aquaman trailer. I loved it. It was awesome. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I will say too, because as far as like before we move on to the next trailer, as far as the difference between the comics to the actual films that we watch, as of lately, I have noticed that a lot of the people who comment in these videos, or sometimes that make these videos, or people that we run into in real life, aren't really people who've read comics. They're more so people who just got into it when the movies started getting popular. So what they know is what they Googled for like 5 seconds and read it and was like, oh, okay. So their argument, I think, is coming from a place where they don't, and I don't want to sound like a comic book elitist, but it's coming from a place where they don't actually understand what the characters are supposed to be in the comics. It's more so coming from in their head what they think the movie should be. And I think that's where they come from, which isn't a good way, like, it's not a good lens to look at these movies through, to try to look at it.
Yeah, I think in a good way and a bad way, the MCU kind of influenced people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's a bad way the MCU influence people, because people that watch the MCU think that's how the characters are, or that's how the characters' stories are.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't understand the MCU. The MCU is completely different from the stories in the comics.
And it makes it worse too, because most of the comics that came out after these films were made are based on the characters that were made in the film. So they don't have any back references into the characters that were made before this MCU was even created. So they thinking that the comic book characters are just like the ones in the movies when they're actually not. Like, I've seen so many Black Panther movies with Killmonger looks just like Michael B. Jordan, and that's not how he's supposed to look. So, and then one thing I want to say about the Aquaman trailer, and one thing I thought about is I'm hoping people don't get ridiculous, because this is one thing I thought about, because we live in a sensitive society, and this is gonna be real quick before I move on. With Black Mantis being a bad guy and being a black guy, I feel like some people are gonna be upset about that. And if people knew anything about comic books and back in the day, this stuff was already established a long time ago before this movie came out. And if they want to pull the race card on this, it's not going to make any sense.
Black Manta is going to be black. His name is Black Manta. He's always been black.
Yeah.
People just stop that bullshit, please.
And they can't win, because if they switch him out with a white guy, then like, oh, okay, so you replace the black guy with a white guy.
Exactly. Like, they're staying true to the character. The character's look, the character's origin, is everything. Everything is staying true to the comic. So for anybody that has a problem with Black Manta, you're ridiculous.
It's going to happen, man.
Research.
It's going to happen. I already know what's coming. Next up, we want to
do some research.
Yeah, because some of the stuff I've been seeing online with Google and stuff, it's been way off. But I guess if they want to go read those comics, definitely check out those comics and see what's going on, or play Injustice.
I don't mean Google. I mean go get comics. Go get some comics. You can get comics online now. You don't have to get. I do support though getting the actual paperback comics. Yeah, getting the actual physical comic.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see comic stores die out. But there's comic stores all over that are struggling because everything is online now. Everything you can get digitally now. So I mean, it does hurt. I don't want to see comic stores go out like Blockbuster. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, like that. I don't want that to happen because I have comics and I love comics and I love reading them. And I'm not gonna lie to you and say I know it's been a while since I've actually read a comic, but I will definitely get back to it because there's so many great stories in comics, man. If you're someone that doesn't like to read, I don't like to read. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I hate reading. I've always hated reading, but I've never hated reading comics. I've loved reading comics. And you know what I mean. So if you need to do some research on certain characters that you see on the screen, go get a comic, go read a comic, and go support the comics and the comic book stores. Yeah. And do that type of research. Don't Google it because Google can give you all types of information that's not accurate.
Yeah.
So do that type of research.
Yeah, go to the official websites. Go to the official DC websites and Marvel website to see biographies and stuff like that, because they'll give you the actual information and they'll tell you where comics those origins come from too. So in case you want